Good morning, it's day 29 of our Lent Readings in 2022. Welcome back for another week. We're going to look today and tomorrow at the book of Hebrews. Now, the King James Bible says that Hebrews is an epistle from Paul, but almost certainly Paul didn't write it. The style is very different. It doesn't name the author. Paul always put who he was when he was writing. It's written in a very classical style of Greek, which is far better Greek than any other book in the New Testament. And in chapter 2 it says the author was somebody who didn't meet Jesus but learnt the gospel from those who did. And although Paul wasn't a disciple, even he in Galatians says that he met Jesus, referring to his Damascus Road experience. People have speculated, well then, who may have written the book of Hebrews? Tertullian said it could have been Barnabas, others have said Apollos, and there's good reasons for speculating either of those. But reality is we don't know who wrote the book of Hebrews. What we do know is that it was a man, because in chapter 11 that he refers to the verb as a male term. We know that it was somebody who had a really good grasp of the Old Testament, so most likely a Jewish convert. And it was somebody who wanted to present the gospel to Jews in a way of saying, don't go back to Judaism. Jesus is greater. There would have been some people that had been converts from a Jewish background who were toying with how do they combine what they knew from Judaism with Christianity. And the writer wants to say, Jesus is greater. Stick with Jesus. You don't need to go back to the law. I want to look at a bit from the end of chapter 6, last two verses, and then into chapter 7 that deals with a character called Melchizedek. So let's read. We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. It enters the inner sanctuary behind the curtain, where our forerunner Jesus has entered on our behalf. He has become a high priest forever in the order of Melchizedek. This Melchizedek was king of Salem and priest of God Most High. He met Abraham returning from the defeat of the kings and blessed him. And Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. First, the name Melchizedek means king of righteousness. Then also king of Salem means king of peace. Without father or mother, without genealogy, without beginning of days or end of life, resembling the Son of God, he remains a priest forever. What this passage is about is solving a problem. You see, Jesus is descended from the tribe of Judah, the royal tribe, the tribe of David. And that was the tribe from where the kings came. The priests came from the tribe of Levi. They were descendants of Aaron. And so the question is, how can Jesus be both king and priest if the kings came from Judah and the priests came from Levi? Surely he can't be both. And so what the author is doing, he's removed all the Levitical priesthood from the Bible, he's sifted through all the what's left, and he's found this character Melchizedek. Now Melchizedek appears in chapter 14 of Genesis. He is said to be the king of Salem, which will become Jerusalem, and he's also the priest of God Most High, so he's king and priest. Abraham is coming back from battle, having defeated a group of kings, and as he comes back, Melchizedek comes out and meets him carrying bread and wine. And Abraham gives him a tithe of the spoils of war. Now, this Melchizedek then disappears. 1,000 years later, he appears in Psalm 110, where the author is writing a psalm which will become one of the Messianic psalms. And in it he says, you are a priest in the order of Melchizedek. Then he disappears again for another 1,000 years, and he reappears in the book of Hebrews. He is the millennium man, once every 1,000 years. And in the book of Hebrews, the author is taking this and saying, look, there is a priest before the Levitical priesthood who is also king. And the Psalm 110, as the writer has already recognized that this is a priest and king who the Messiah will be in that order. And the writer from Hebrews says this is the picture of Jesus as priest and king. And then he goes into some Jewish arguments to support this. And it's arguing from silence, which is difficult for us in a Western way of arguing, but it would have meant perfect sense for the first readers. He says that Melchizedek, in an age where genealogies were important, has no genealogy. It mentions no father or mother. And so he's always been a priest. And then he says that after his encounter with Abraham, he disappears. It doesn't record his death. And so he's a priest forever. In the same way that Jesus, who was before creation came about and who was raised to reign eternally, is a priest forever. He is a priest in the order of Melchizedek. And through this, the author says, therefore the problem is solved. Jesus is the great high priest. He is the sacrificial lamb. He is the king upon the throne. And that means we can have confidence in his sacrifice because he is qualified as priest. And we can also have confidence in his reign because he is qualified as king. And it also fulfills a prophecy of Zechariah. Zechariah 6 verse 13. It is he who will build the temple of the Lord, and he will be clothed with majesty, and he will sit and rule on his throne, and he will be a priest on his throne, and there will be harmony between the two. That is our King. That is our priest. That is our Jesus. Till next time, have a blessed